preparing to live stream. I think we are live on YouTube. Let's just have a look. Let's just jump on. Good evening and welcome to the Innerstanding Spirituality Show. I am your host, Allegories Middleton, and tonight we have half of the dynamic duo. Wonderful. The amazing, the fantastic Charlie Freak. How are you? Welcome to the Innerstanding Spirituality Show.
Wonderful to be back. We were away far too long, but it's wonderful to be back.
Well, it's great to have you, and it's pretty wild out there at the moment. So this was kind of like a last minute thing. We decided to do this show. And the reason being we wanted to do this show this evening is we really wanted to remind everybody out there about where we are going as a collective. So we are going to have a very uplifting conversation this evening about, yes, we are in the eye of the storm. Yes, we are in the thick of it right now. But it's really important that we focus our energy and our intention on where we are going as a human collective. Because as Charlie famously likes to say, and I have to say, Charlie, I've stolen this because I think it's so good, it is future will prove past. You know, where we are going is just going to be absolutely phenomenal. And obviously it's going to be so obvious to everybody else out there why, you know, what has been happening, the fact that we have been so suppressed as a human race and been kept in poverty consciousness and being kept in the lower level states of awareness.
Yep.
So Charlie, I know what we're going to do, if it's okay, what I'd love to do is just do a little update about what is happening out there, because I know people will have quite a few questions. So we'll just do a bit of an update about where we are up, you know, what's going on in the world. We're getting lots of people saying hello, hi guys, we love you, you found us. Could you do us a favor, because obviously we want to get as many people as we can on this live this evening. It was a little bit impromptu. So could you share this for me on groups, on threads, on people that you know will be relevant, you know will be interested? I'd really appreciate all of your collective force and energy and support in getting this live out there so people can find us, because we are going to have an incredible conversation this evening. Excellent. Yeah, we've got lots of people starting to jump on now. So let's just share this. Fantastic. So, intense times out there, Charlie Freak. Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because as much as it is intense out there, I feel just incredibly calm. I'll be honest, I've had my moments. The energy's been quite wild and I've felt a little bit up and down, but I've just had to really step up my spiritual practice and my self-care and unplug and be with nature, be with my family, be with my animals. But inside, I feel excited and really calm about what is happening, because as I know you like to say, Charlie, like everything's divine. And, you know, this is all the divine plan.
That's beautiful, Alois. And you know, it's so true. The thing to repeat right now for that, there's never been a horrific moment, a frightening, terrifying in any of our histories, when we are right, when we are all right, when everything is all right, then we're all right, we're okay. And the Creator creates life. and while we have excitement in our life, we never have anything that is greater than we can handle. The problem comes in when we live out there. On our show last night, we do Sunday nights with Justin Carpenter. And it's a show where we take 4 songs, very, very popular songs, and they're all speaking to this single journey to connect to God, and this journey that is within, and that it all starts with meditation. There is no other way. There is no other way. There is no other path. There is no other way. There is a single way. One of the things that's a little disturbing in and amongst the spirituality community is that so many like to say that, well, everybody has their own truth and it's all beautiful. That's really airy-fairy and it's nonsensical. Everybody has their own truth. That doesn't make it the truth. Everybody has their own beliefs is closer to the mark. And a belief is built upon a lie, and it is not the truth. There is one truth. And again, this isn't me saying this or saying that you must listen to me or that I have all the answers. Again, the reason why Colleen and I don't charge at all for anything that we do is because we're not the authors or the architects of any of this. We are simply the messengers. We are simply those that have gone before and are coming back to share the journey, to share the experience, to share the rewards of doing this work. And I guess that's a good reason why you can connect to the likes of Alois and myself and Colleen, because we literally have done the work and will always continue to do the work, so that we are what they would say the cream that rises to the top, or the proof is in the pudding. We are the proof because we do the work. And so the rewards that we have all received in our life are proof that we do the work, and that therefore the message that we are sharing with you is of sound mind. And so there is, again, one truth, one story. And what we're seeing right now out there in this world, and how is all of this going to play out, and where are we at, and what's coming next? Again, the people who are basically perpetrating this enormous plan that has been long in the making, far longer than we could possibly ever imagine. These are people that are sworn to secrecy, not just for themselves, but for all of us. Because again, I did quite a few shows last week relating to Sun Tzu and his book, The Art of War. And war is deception. It has to be, because if you are drawn into a war, the cost is so high. So you have to win. And you have to win before you enter into battle. You have to have won the battle before you start. And the only way to be able to do that is to know thyself. And when you know thyself, then you can know thy enemy better than they know themselves. And in doing so, you've won before it started. And the opposing generals are always just chasing out of desperation, trying desperately to be able to counteract what you're doing, because you know what to do, because you're connected. And that's all of this is just being connected within, which is that godly gnosis and the Akashic records, and you see all, and you know all, and you receive. And this is the thing that Alois teaches, we teach as well, is that when you stay in this state, when you stay connected, you are transmuting data in real time via the 6th and the 7 chakras. So the third eye chakra and the crown chakra. So this is intuition. This is telepathy. That's how you communicate with your divine creator. And that happens instantaneously in real time. So when you are in battle, what will happen is that you will know intuitively what to do in every single moment. And the opposing general will always be chasing their tail, because they don't have this connection. They're in response. They're constantly responding to forces out there. You are responding to the one truth within you. So you see, you are always ahead of the game. Ahead, the Godhead, you are ahead, Godhead of the game, because you are within. And so you see all through the humility of the penitent man connecting to the Father. Because when you go to war, this is, you have to win. You absolutely have to win, because the consequences of losing are horrific. you must win, and therefore you must win before you start. And so ultimately, this incredible book by Sun Tzu, who is a righteous man of God, this entire book is basically like a treatise of life. It's how to live life. It's how to live life penitent and humble and staying constantly connected to the Father. And then you have that plan. And so that's what I really wanted to focus at the beginning of the show today, is with the Q team and President Trump and the military that are now in control, you're talking about a group of people who swore semper fidelis. Okay, so the Marines are very famous for saying that, but essentially all armed forces.
What does that mean?
Semper fidelis is Latin, and semper is always, and fidelis is fidelity, which is trust. Fidelity is trust. At the heart and soul of fidelity is trust. So it's always trusting. In whom? Barack Obama, the 44th president of the United States, who's married to a guy who's a Baphomet and they eat children? Or are you always penitent, humble, serving in trust of God, of the Father? And see, that's where we have to get back to. This is where we're fallen. This is where all of us have absolutely fallen. And this is what you're missing about this majestic moment right now. You're missing out because you're not calming your brainwaves. You're not calming your mind. And you're missing out on the most incredible moment in all of mankind's glorious history. Right now, as bad as it is, and yes, of course it is, this is the end of a 6,000-year period of domination, the Babylonian captivity, turning the divinity of God's creation into a Babylonian whore, turning the sacred feminine, who is everything to us, and turning her into an asset that can be owned and controlled and manipulated sexually. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. So right now, what you need to be doing is relaxing, is breathing, is focusing on this work, which is to become alkaline, because alchemy is the exact same word as alkaline. There's no way that you can rise the alchemical levels, the alchemical scales, which are 7, which are your 7 chakras. There's no way you can do this unless you play the game. You can't play the game as an acidic beast of the left brain. You have to play the game as an alkaline man or woman of the right hemisphere of the brain. It's the price you must pay. It's the 10 cents. It's the dime. It's the tithing that you must pay. God is the God of the living, not of the dead. Where does God exist within you? God exists only in the right hemisphere, which is the 90%. 9, which is divine. That is the significance of this 10 and 90 division. God does not exist in the left brain. Your left brain is an electrical circuit. And guess what? I've shared with you so many times. Your electrical circuit of the left brain has no connection to the right. It has no connection to the third ventricle, which is the essence of you, which is the seat of your soul, which is you, the optic thalamus, the light of the world. You can't become the light of the world with electrical light from the left brain. It doesn't work. You have no access. Here's another little treat for you that they don't teach you in school. But your brain from a bird's eye view is in 3s. So of course the major division of the brain is left hemisphere, right hemisphere. That's most important. But from a bird's eye view, you have 3 parts to the brain. You have the frontal lobe and the frontal cranium, you have the midbrain, and then you have the lower, or what people call the reptilian brain. And the reptilian brain is purposely and importantly, but very, very limited in what it does. It's a fight or flight mechanism. It is an adrenaline rush. It is designed for you to choose in that moment. It's a survival thing. And when you're dealing with survival, it's fear. So you don't want to be living. You don't want to be living in the lower reptilian brain, because it activates out of fear. It's a fight or flight mechanism. It's a survival mechanism, and that's out of fear.
And they have They
Go
have
ahead.
kept us there. Well, I was just going to say, like, a couple of things that you were saying really important. You know, we've been kept there purposefully, haven't we? Because when we are fighting for survival and paying our bills and literally kind of on this hamster wheel, we don't have the luxury of focusing on our spirituality. And, you know, we're distracted into the consciousness trap, which is, you know, literally survival. So as humanity shifts, as we are shifting, it will be fantastic because obviously the abundance will be taken care of, but effectively we will have the time to do our inner work. But what I was going to say, Charlie, is that I think for people listening, like you were saying, this is an incredible time, isn't it, for people to be observing how this is playing out. If you're actually looking at the mainstream media and you're also looking at what's happening behind the scenes, it's incredible to watch. Like, I have to say, I find it absolutely fascinating. There's almost literally two worlds coexisting. And if you can kind of take the opportunity to step back and observe it, like you said, Charlie, it is an incredible time in history to be alive. Like, you know, to think we are living through a living, breathing ascension. And like you said, the collapse of a 6,000-year-old satanic cult who's been running the planet.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful, completely for spirituality. Exactly right. That's exactly where we are. And this process that I'm sharing and going on, sort of Sun Tzu and the art of war, and we need to win. All of this is just connecting to the right hemisphere of your brain. And so that is the ferryman. That is paying the dime to the ferryman to cross the river to the other side. And that is Jacob. And that is in Genesis. It's all in Genesis because that's the beginning of the Bible. Whatever is in Genesis is so vastly important because it is describing what you're existing within, who you truly are, and what your purpose truly is. That's why in the entire Bible, there's one passage about what food is. And that, you know, is in Genesis. And you know, let the seeds of thy fruits and thy vegetables of the trees and plants be thy food, and that's it. And then food is not mentioned again. And people will say, well, you know, the whole Bible is just all about killing all of these beasts and, you know, and sacrifice. It's not talking about food. It's the tithing of the left brain. It's the sacrificing of the beast within you, which is that electrical circuit, which is your left brain. And again, in and of itself, it's necessary. It plays an important function and role for us. You know, it's a dime, but it's facts, figures, and logic. And there are moments, yeah, that's right. There are moments when we're out there that logic can come into, can be very useful and handy to us, but they must be ruled over through a higher source, a higher might. The whole point of this is that we do not possess the wisdom, the experience, or the strength to be able to defeat our ego without help. So that's why you have all these songs. Again, I was just, you know, mentioning about the songs last night. And, you know, that's why you have all these songs that are all talking about making this connection to God, because it's God that destroys and keeps the ego in its place, keeps the ego down, and that the left brain only works as a servant in service to God and God's creation. That's why you have to be virtuous, because if you are virtuous, that's why I teach virtue above first and above everything else. Because if you're virtuous, the ego cannot exist. It cannot be present in a virtuous moment. The moment that you're not virtuous, you give breath to the beast. Why would you do that?
And explain
Why
what
would
you
you
mean.
ever do that? And that.
Explain what you mean by virtuous, Charlie. Like, what do you mean by when you're virtuous? Can you unpack that for our listeners?
Absolutely. And again, this is all laid out in the dichotomy between the seven heavenly virtues and the seven deadly sins. And virtually everybody knows what those are and what those mean. And they all rest in and around your five physical senses. So again, you know, you are gluttonous when you are solely physical, when you are matter, where everything matters to you, where you have an opinion on everything because everything matters.
To be right, or do you want to be happy?
And you're low in you. That's right. You want to be right or you want to be happy. And so you're locked in your uncles and you're in Egypt. Egypt is the desert. And it is an allegory for the left hemisphere of the brain where you're lost. And Jesus spent 40 days and 40 nights being sorely tempted in the desert. Moses wandered for 40 years in the desert. 40 is this journey of completion. How many days are there in Lent in preparation for the most important thing that is, which we're coming to, and I'm going to have a whole bunch of shows coming up about the lie of what Easter is and what it's hiding. What it's hiding is Passover, and what Passover is everything, because that's how you live forever. Death passes you over when you have the burnt offering of the perfect lamb. So does that mean that we're supposed to go out and hack Jesus into pieces and use his leg and arms to paint blood on our face and stuff? Or we're supposed to kill a lamb and barbecue a lamb to God and that makes God happy? No. The blood of the perfect lamb and the burnt offering is what occurs astrologically above us in the first day of spring, which is where Passover is. The 14th day of Nisan is the 22nd of March, which is the real new year. And that is, the 40 days of Lent. So why 40 days of Lent? Because that is 40 days of fasting in preparation for the 3 most important days in your tomb. So that's why you're told on Passover, go into your house, which is your cave, which is your tomb, which is the womb, and you go in for 3 days. And to be protected from the reaper who will come and force everyone to pay the debt of a sinful life, you must have the blood of the perfect lamb upon your brow. And so that's, allegorically, this is why, in the Bible, people painted, that blood of a sacrificial lamb upon the top of the door. Again, it's an allegory. The sacrificial lamb, the burnt offering, is Aries, which is the lamb or the ram of man, arising when the sun rises on the 0 degree line of longitude, the prime meridian, the 0 degree line of longitude on March 22nd, and at 0 degrees. So again, you look at, it's March is 3 and, 22nd 2, and then, or the last light of the 21st, which is 2-1, and then the birth of the new light on the 22nd. So really it's the end of this process, the burnt offering, on the last light of March 21st. So March is 3, 21 is 2-1, 3-2-1. And when the sun rises with the first light of March 22nd at 6 a.m. in the morning, it's rising upon the prime meridian, which is the 0 degree line of longitude, 3, 2, 1, 0. That's the New Year's, and that's why they have you counting down at New Year's, because you're counting in the new year, 3, 2, 1, 0, which is there. And this burnt offering is the rising of the sun upon Aries, and the sun is rising right in the center of the constellation of Aries, which is the perfect lamb, that he who is penitent, completely humble before God, that is the perfect lamb. And so when the sun rises, it burns the Lamb of God. That is the penitent man who is willing to be the burnt offering, and then wear the blood of physicality upon that we can rise up eternally at the right hand side of the Father. So when you are virtuous, what does virtuous look like? It is the opposite of the 7 deadly sins, but in every single moment, it is simply serving others. And so this is what Alois teaches. And Alois is actually going through another module right now with her courses, which is this learning and unlocking the abundance that is within you. You see, God is the God of the living, which is abundance, not of the dead, which is lack. Why do we live in a world of lack? Because we've been tricked into becoming a thing certificate, which is merchandise from upon the sea. So we're cargo that can be bought, sold, and owned. We're not real. They feel that they are allowed to do these things to us because we, or our parents, have unwittingly signed us over to the state, which is owned by the cabal, as chattel or collateral for debts owed. And so therefore, what we've become to them is a birthing certificate that can be bought, sold, owned, manipulated, bet against. And that's why each of our birthing certificates are worth millions and millions, if not billions of dollars, and are rightfully ours. But that's not the be all and end all at all, but how they've done it. Now, if we're not that, if we're not a birth certificate, then we are child of God. We are the burnt offering of the perfect lamb upon the cross. Then that is the righteous penitent man who is always humble before God. And that means that you're God's creation. So in every single moment, to be virtuous is you ask yourself in the moment, what is the right thing to do? And that's why this analogy of the answer being cast thy net to the right, because in every single moment, cast thy net to the right. Make the right decision, which, as Alois teaches, is the abundant decision, not the lack decision. Even if you think that it will cost you your last nickel or dime, you rewarded for humility and the trusting God. So that takes
Charlie,
us full circle again. Go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to share something, because since our conversation on the Magenta, do you remember we did the show about raising the Kundalini? Incredible. I had a huge download after that show. So I wanted to share it with you because I wanted to thank you, actually, because we're talking about being of service to others, taking the virtuous path, you know, and how when we do that, we unlock our abundance, because actually we attract the abundance. For me, is the means to do what you need to do when you need to do it. And when we are in service to others, and like you said, we take that virtuous path, we do the right thing, we will always be supported by the higher power. And I just wanted to share a story with the audience that demonstrates this, but it was also my Kundalini awakening. And it was only after our show that I kind of put the two and two together, because I'd always wondered what on earth had happened to me. I had an idea probably about, I'm 43 now, but when I was about 32, I wanted to create a global non-profit organization for transformational leaders. And I didn't have a clue, Charlie, how I was going to do that. I just knew inside of me it was something that God wanted me to do. And so I just kind of, this is kind of what I teach in the Unlocking Your Abundance Challenge. I really set my vision, and it was a very virtuous vision. It was all about helping humanity by bringing together transformational leaders like yourself to make a difference and collaborate and connect. And I didn't really know how that was going to happen, but I had a very clear intention of what I was trying to create in the world. And through the most amazing series of synchronicities, I ended up getting connected to a woman who'd run an organization like that in the States, and she and I connected in the UK. And before I knew it, like 9 months later, I was found myself in this meeting that I had created. I had 30 transformational leaders all around me. And I couldn't believe it, if I'm honest. And right at the end of the meeting, you know, it was like my dream come true. It was my virtuous dream come true. I wasn't doing it. I was doing it purely because I felt inside of me that was what God wanted me to do. And at the end of this meeting, Charlie, they put on this music, and it was very high vibrational kind of angel music. And I had what I realize now was the most incredible Kundalini experience, but I had no words for it. I remember literally having this rush of energy where I felt so interconnected with everything. And I just felt this oneness, and it was so strong, this emotion inside of me. I absolutely burst out crying. I was sitting in the back of this room, and I literally had this huge rush of energy through me. And I just knew that was what I was supposed to be doing in that moment. And everything I was doing, I was on this right path. And it kind of stayed with me, I would say. It was so strong that I had to excuse myself and go to the bathroom where I literally kind of just cried my eyes out, because I knew inside of me what I was doing was right and that it was helping. And it was kind of this incredible awakening experience. And, you know, since our show, Charlie, I realized that that was my Kundalini awakening. And I hadn't really put that together, but it was almost like showing me that I was on that correct path and what I was doing was right, effectively. And ever since that, I kind of have always listened to that inner voice, you know. And I think people who come and join the Unlock Your Abundance Challenge, what we're going to be talking about is how you can create the most incredible vision, soul inspired vision, because a soul inspired vision is what we all have. And those visions inside of you, that thing that you wanted to do all your life that doesn't leave you and you don't know how you're going to create it, when you have the courage to step into that, and that vision is in support of humanity, the right people show up, you know, and you get the synchronicities and the abundance is there for you. And we're going to show you how to unlock that in the Unlock Your Abundance Challenge. So, yeah, I just wanted to share that with you, Charlie, because I wanted to say thank you, because I put that together after our show and I didn't realize what it was.
That's so beautiful, Aloise. And again, the whole purpose to life is to create that moment and then to replicate that moment. And then that moment, it just becomes a way of life. And so that is essentially how you live your days, is just having these deeply emotional connections in real time, this transmutation of the manna, the real manna from heaven is thought from God. That's what manna is. It's not food. The food is an allegory for nourishment. And the nourishment, what nourishes us and what we sustain ourselves with are these righteous thoughts. And the whole problem with our physiology is not a problem. It's a problem if you try to do it alone. Therein lies the problem, because our thought process originates out of the left hemisphere of the brain. Problem: there's a dragon in the left hemisphere of your brain. There's a hydra. There's a beast inside the left hemisphere of your brain. So beware if you enter. And so for us to enter into the left hemisphere, we must do so from the right. Right is righteous. Righteous is divine. And divine is what we're talking about these seven heavenly virtues. So to be virtuous is righteous, and righteous just means being in the right hemisphere of the brain, which is where God exists, which is where the Mother exists, which is where Jesus Christ exists, which is where God exists. The only thing that exists in the left hemisphere, you have to make a choice, but you have to make the right choice. And by everything allegory acronym for right, going to the right. It's all about being righteous in this world. So that's what we're talking about. And what I was saying earlier, you're missing out right now. Breathe, relax, because what I've been trying to share with all of you the way through is that this plan is bigger than Cyrus 45, which is Donald Trump. It's bigger than 888, which is the son of the sun, which is John F. Kennedy Jr. There's the public face that everybody sees, and he takes all of the anger and the vitriol and the hatred and the stones, and he stands tall and strong for all of us, because clearly he's the mass star president. He's the president of the entire world. And he takes those bricks, but behind the scenes, Sun Tzu, the art of war, the master of deception, of disguise, is John F. Kennedy Jr. How? When I did that show with Mark Devlin just a few weeks ago, that series of shows that I did that forced YouTube and forced the mainstream media to take us down every single where, because we just laid their little plan bare from beginning to end. When they took down the cabal back in it's my belief, I don't know, they did so on Christmas Eve, December 24th of 16. How were they able to do this? Because remember, you have to take down all 13 heads of the Hydra. If one of the heads leaves, then they know where to flee to, because they know where all of their little tunnels and their systems deep beneath the ground are. You have to capture them all. So they had to get them all. How did they do this? That's why John F. Kennedy Jr. had to be taken out back in July 16th of 1999, because he needed this time to go underground, which is where these demons are, and to know them better than they know themselves. So again, how were these special op forces, 13 ops for 13 mansions for 13 families? How were they able to get in these compounds so quickly and manage to capture everyone? And the actual loss of life was very small. And it's because somebody who was the master of deception and disguise learned their ways and knew their ways and knew how to get in. And they picked the 24th because it's a 3-day period for these demons, from the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, where they're deeply underground in these very, very sick rituals that are blood rituals. And I won't get into what it is they're doing. It's not nice, but they're completely distracted during those days, and they're underground, and everybody has to be there for it. So they're all home. You have to get them when they're all home in Venice. So this is an enormous plan, and nobody is leaking any information. So if there's anybody out there right now that's telling you, I know what's coming next, or I know, they don't know. Nobody knows, but a very, very small group.
What can we be doing?
There's a point to this.
What can we be doing? What can the people listen to? I know that's the question.
Exactly. Well, there's a whole point to this. The reason that as we come closer and closer and closer, and all the stakes are on the table. This is a game of poker now, and all the cards are on the table. Everybody's all in. So there's an enormous amount of chips that are on the table right now. Everybody's all in, and everybody's watching and watching and watching. You just have to realize, on one side of the table is God, and the other side is the devil. Who's going to win? 100 million times out of 100 million times, God will win.
Always
because
wins.
Goodness always defeats evil.
Light
it's God's plan. This is what you're missing. That the show that we did with Eloise and Josh on the Great Conjunction on December 21st should show you that the mother is all in, that God is all in, that Jesus Christ is all in, that Mary is all in. Everybody, the trees, the air, the soil, the plants, everyone and everything, their chips are on the table, and they're all on our side. They're all on our side. Those demons are all alone. They're all alone because they're the dime brain. They're the 10%. And they're all alone because they segregate themselves on an island at sea, Venice. That's why, an island at sea. They're all alone, and they're surrounded by goodness. And goodness has never, ever, ever lost a fight or a battle if goodness has defended itself. All we've ever had to do was take the sword that is within us, which is the spine, which is our righteousness, and stand firm. That is the canna rod, which when you activate it creates the canna lily, which is the flowering of your righteousness, which is your spine, which connects to the brainstem, which connects right up into the third ventricle of the brain, to the pineal gland and the pituitary gland. And there's the flowering, the fruition of your essence. This is God's plan. He's not going to lose. This isn't Donald Trump's plan. Donald Trump is he and JFK Jr. are the single most important players in all of this. Absolutely. And all love and credit and support to them for risking everything by doing this. But you see, they're in a position of knowing, like Colleen and I, we're actually not risking anything because there's nothing to lose. When you have connected to God, there's nothing to lose. There's nothing that they can really take away from you, because if you know the truth about creation and how everything works. You're never ever separated. You're never in lack, because that's not how God operates. But you have to be there, and the there is the here and the now. It's not this linear line. I was teaching this last night on our show, that the here and the now is a horizontal line, and then it's the sine wave above and below, and it intersects at the beginning, in the middle, and at the end. And every time it intersects is where you want to be, because that's on the level. You have to be on the level. The level is the truth. Are you on the level? I'm on the level. That's where you need to be. And if you don't do the work, when you go around the loop again, you will not come back to this level. You will go back to one of the dips in the sine wave, and then you will have to do your journey again and again and again and again. That's what Allegories desperately cares about. It's what we desperately care about. We don't want you to do this anymore. You've done it for 1,000,000 years, maybe more, and you don't need to do this anymore. All you need to do is the work. And if you do the work, I guarantee you that you will get there, that you will achieve this eternal life at the right-hand side of the Father, that's what abundance is. There's no death in abundance. There's death and lack, but that's your choice. Left brain, right brain, left brain, right brain, left brain, right brain. So all of this is about doing this alchemical work with it, which is within you. And that is just being virtuous. So I've taught this so many times. If you did nothing else, you'd never read a book. You don't need to ultimately read a book at all. All you need to do is listen to these words. Be righteous in every moment. And I guarantee you will get there without any help from anyone. Now, you could certainly get there a lot quicker and easier with some help along the way, but who do you trust? Who do you listen to in an age, in a world of liars and lying, where virtually everyone around you is lying to you, and on purpose, for money? You know, it's just so sickening and disgusting. So you have to be able to use, like Alois teaches you, you have to be able to use the pendulum, you have to ring the bell, you have to meditate, you have to go within yourself and get that gut feeling. How do you feel? And you know, another thing about this process is observe the people whom you're listening to. Do they look healthy? Yeah, I'm sorry, you can't get around that one. A person who's telling the truth looks good because they're telling the truth. A person that's lying to you looks horrific because they're lying to you, and they're lying to themselves, and they're betraying God. And that is a horrible price to pay. You ever seen these Kabbalistic figures as they grow older? It's like in Hollywood. After they get to a certain age, you just don't see those people anymore. Why? Because they grow to become so ugly. Remember those pictures of Henry Kissinger and David Rockefeller and all of the Rothschilds as they grew older and older? These are the most disgustingly ugly, vile people that you've ever seen, because you are on the outside what you are on the inside. And when you are vile, disgusting, and ugly on the inside, you will be vile, disgusting on the outside. So when you're choosing whom to follow, whom to listen to, observe, become the observer and see. Because if somebody is going to be your teacher, they need to be doing this work. And you can tell if they're doing their work. Do they look alive? Do they look vibrant? Do they sound alive and vibrant? Are they passionate, not angry? And these are the little hints that are given to you, gifted to you by God through your intuition, that you can pick up all the time. So you can know whom to trust and whom not to trust. It's tough, I grant you, because virtually everyone is lying to you. It's incredible. But that is the world that is dying. And so in this moment, don't worry about the plan. Don't worry, like I decoded a while back that tomorrow is January 19th. Now, January 19th is a big day. Just like I said, January 13th was a big day. January 13th is 113, the first month, 13th day. So that's 113. Now, flip it. Reverse it, dark to light. What is 113? Is 311. When is the day that they rolled out the coronavirus as this global pandemic and unleashed hell upon earth with this hoax known as the COVID virus, okay? They did that on March 11th. Yeah, the United Nations, WHO, and Tom Hanks, all three of them, three devils, all three of them, declared the COVID was real and it was a global pandemic, and Tom Hanks had the global pandemic, and oh boy. On January 13th, it was reported in all these newspapers around the world, and there were literally hundreds of these key religious figures, and there were some others, not just bishops and cardinals from all across the earth, but also there were sort of key corporate heads or very famous people, and they all mysteriously died of the COVID all in and around this date, but it was all announced on January 13th. Code. That's a code. That's a message. And what they're telling you is that these demons are being taken out, and that this is, and so they're the liars, and that they brought this COVID nonsense to you. And so how fittingly that their epitaph would be that they died via the COVID virus. So go back and check for yourself. On January 13th, a whole bunch of key figures within organized society, liars and rapers of children, were all pronounced dead on January 13th. 113 is 311, March 11th. Okay, so tomorrow is a big day because tomorrow is 119. Okay, let's do the same thing. 119, if you flip it, is 911. It's 9/11. It's guarantee it somehow, some way, and I don't know, but some way tomorrow it's 9/11. I would humbly suggest to be prepared for some shocking news to field in a big way tomorrow, because tomorrow, dark to light, is their 9/11, and we are now going to take down their twin towers on them, because there's no way that Joe Biden he's not even alive, and Kamala Harris is Kamal, and it's a guy, so they're not going to become president or first lady. Okay, and you have to remember that if Trump went along with any of this, the first thing that they would do is wipe out him and his entire family. He's not going to let that happen, and he's not going to let that to happen to us. So get out of that lower brain. There's no fear. It's God's plan. But I'm just saying, numerologically, tomorrow's a big day because it's 119, and dark to light, future proves past 9/11. Who did 9/11? Who's going to suffer tomorrow? Won't be us. It won't be us. So, but how this all plays out, when this, again, I don't know. But what I will share with all of you is that once these arrests are made and big announcements that people are dead occur, and that now we need to be in this Insurrection Act, and so that this is a period of a sort of a temporary government until such time that things can be brought back to normal, and that a normalcy of the system can function again. It's during this time that President Trump announced Nasara. And remember, all of this has to play out in the United States first. It has to. They're leading the way. It's kind of like, from a spiritual level, this is Jesus Christ, okay? And so Jesus Christ has to come first. He has to go through the breach first. And, the first one through the breach gets bloody. America has been bloodied through this process. So they have to complete the process of what's been done to them and turning darkness back into light. So it has to come there first. But here's what will happen. Remember, Nasara there's no magical fairy with a pixie wand going, here you go, here's some nice treat for you because I'm magically wonderful and you're so nice, and here you go, here's some treats for you. No, Nasara is giving you back what is rightfully yours. What are people talking about? Like this Nasara is evil and it's bad and that they're lying to you and stuff. You know what the bulk of Nasara is? It's getting rid of usury. Can't exist. You can't have interest on top of principal because there's no way to pay the interest on top of principal. It's illegal, it's unlawful, it doesn't work, you can't have usury. So that means your debt's due. There's no such thing as debt, you can't have debt. So your debt goes away. Imagine how much wealthy you are right now if you have zero debt payments, okay? So woo, one. Then two, what did Donald Trump say, you know, during his golden hair phase, and he was at Whirlpool factory with 17 Whirlpool boxes in Ohio, and Ohio was the 17th state to enter into the American Union. And what did he say? He said, you know, there's a middleman out there. Nobody knows who it is and nobody knows where they are. But these middlemen, they're just jacking up the prices and everything. There's no reason for it. And when you look at, if you look at the pharmaceutical industry, the prices of the pharmaceutical, they make no sense. So he's like an EpiPen is like $500 and it only costs like a few pennies and it shouldn't be that much money to them. So he said, I'm going to get rid of middlemen and I'm going to lower the prices by at least 90%. He did that in one area, the pharmaceutical area, okay? Hits home to a lot of people who are right now. And so what happened within days of that speech, EpiPens went from $500 an EpiPen to $3.95. That's what's going to happen to everything out there. Your houses are so expensive and your cars are so expensive so that you are slaves to work. You're wage slaves because your house is worth so much money. Well, what happens if your house is really only worth $30,000 instead of $300,000? That means your mortgage is only instead of $200,000. You can pay it off like that because you have no taxes against you. You have no property taxes. They're all illegal. Again, even in the Bible, it expresses you cannot own or tax somebody's sweat equity or intellectual property. That's the fruition of your free will. That's your free will expression. It's yours. Only it's gifted by God. Nobody. The problem
that we've got at the moment, though, is everybody we just can't imagine it because we've been brought up in this system. It's kind of like this conditioning where you've been taxed all your life at every turn. And I know myself, I want to go there and I believe we're going there, but I still can't quite connect to it just because it's like, wow, is that really going to be the case that we won't have to pay?
Yeah, exactly, Allegories. But that's why I teach it the way that I teach it in terms of the illegality or the unlawfulness of the very system. So again, with usury, that's charging interest on top of principal, which doesn't exist. You can't do that because all that exists in terms of actual wealth is the principal, is the amount of wealth that exists. If you create, how do you pay for that? You can't. You would have to borrow a second dollar to pay for the first dollar cost in charging for the service of this principle. It's insanity. It's the game Monopoly and it's bankruptcy for everyone. You just have to let the game play out long enough and everyone goes bankrupt except the bankers. So that was their game plan all along. So when you express it this way to everyone, then it's not so hard to believe. What you're basically saying is that everything that they've been doing to you is unlawful by God and it is illegal even within their own system. So again, you take away these basic things, you take away the middleman and these inflated prices, your wages stay the same. Prices plummet by 90%. There's no taxation, there's no property taxes. There will be one tax to pay for the system of government, but that will be a point of sale tax, likely the Q tax, which will be 17%. And that'll be on all non-essential goods. So you even have a choice ultimately to not pay it at all ever, because it has to be a free will choice or it cannot be, it's not lawful, it's not godly. So that's coming. Now, the other aspect to Nasara has always been to take our genius, all the creations that we have created, because we're the children of Abel, who are able to create because we're in the right hemisphere of the brain. We're not the Canaanites. Canaanites, they don't create anything. They murder people who create and steal it for themselves, and then they hide it. So their world is below the ground, and the technology that exists makes us look like, what happened at the beginning of the agricultural revolution. So, we're picks and maybe a shovel and a hoe or something like that. That's about it. They are so far ahead of us. That's ours. See, you need to wrap your minds around that. They didn't invent any of that technology. They took it from us.
Yeah,
they
of
suppressed
course.
it. That's
Stole
what
it from
patent
people.
offices have been there for. Patent offices are there to suppress the process and then steal it from whoever comes up with these brilliant ideas and then wants to protect their intellectual property. It's a game, win at every level. So all that technology is ours. And then there was a guy by the name of Nikola Tesla. And Nikola Tesla said, what I want to do is I want to give power freely to everyone in the world, and there won't be a single power line. It'll be wirelessly transferred. And so everyone will be free, because with unlimited amounts of energy and no reason for them to ever switch anything off. It just, their generator runs and runs and runs and runs and runs forever because it's magnetic, it's a field. Then you empower people. You make people free, because now with that energy and that generator, they can pull their own water, and they can have abundant amounts of potable water, because that's all that exists beneath the ground. It's just beautiful, life-giving water. And then you can irrigate all of your fields, and you can feed yourself. You don't need anybody else. A guy named Nikola Tesla, everything that he taught was magnetism. That's why a scalar wave is known as a Tesla wave. And it was Tesla who said that magnetism is 1,000,000 times, it's infinitely more, but he said 1,000,000 times more powerful than electricity. He said electricity is a one-trick pony, left brain, and that the secrets of the universe are through magnetism. And if you understand 3, 6, and 9, then you understand the secrets to the world. 3, 6, and 9, that's mother, child, father. 3, 6, 9, mother, child, father, and the eternal journey, the hero's journey within you is magnetism. Sorry, but it's the only way. It's the only way. You can't get back up to heaven, because we are electrical beings. Man or woman, we are electrical beings. And so that's why we fall and skin our knees all the time. Who helps us back off the ground? The mother. She's always there. Get back up again, son. Get back up. Try again, son. And it's the mother that raises us up, because she is magnetic, and magnetism is a scalar wave, and it rises to the Father. And that's how we do this. And that's Nikola Tesla. So you see, Tesla has been taken away from us. All of these suppressed technologies take us away. And so, yeah, are med beds real? You bet they are. But all a med bed is going to do is level the playing field. Okay, more flat earth. Level the playing field. That's all that med beds do. They get you back to ground zero, and then you start your journey again. And if you do all the wrong things again, like murdering animals and ingesting this horrific acidic food, you're going to fall again. And then you're going to end up, not on the middle line of the sine wave. You're going to end up falling back down. You're going to have to do this journey again. It's your choice. But we have this chance. We have this chance while you're alive, while your children are alive. You have this miraculous chance right now to get it right. And to get it right is to cast thy net to the right. And casting your net to the right is making a virtuous decision in every moment. Have you got a dime, mister? Yep, I do. That's my last dime, but I do. Can I have it? Sure, why not? And it's your last dime. You probably could have used it for something, but you didn't. You gave it away to help somebody else. And on your way home, you stumbled over a rock, weren't paying attention, you fell to the ground. Oh my goodness, there's $50. Wow, it's funny how that works. Funny how that works. Let go. Trusting God. We were, again, that's what I started all this with, was the song last night. We ended the show with Boz Scaggs, We're All Alone. And what he says in the song is, outside the rain begins and it may never end. Hell is the physicality of our reality, and it's raining out there, and it may never ever stop raining. So you have to go within. And what does the song say? Especially as he gets closer to the end of the song, and then the last lines of the song, just hold me, dear. Just hold me, dear. That's all we have to do, is just cling to the mother and the father with dear life. Cling to them with dear life. Trust in your mother and father, and they will never, ever let you down. God will never let you down. This is his plan. This is his moment. And we are the children of this moment. So sit back and enjoy this moment. You are made for this moment. You are here right now because you have a role to play, whether it was leading up to this or what you do after this. You have a role to play. How many of you connected to that podcast I did on 11/11? And everybody for 20 years has been seeing 11/11, 11/11 everywhere. You're being called. God is calling you, but he is inside of you in stillness and silence. No words are spoken. You must calm your mind. You must close your eyes. You must pull the blinds, and you must go within in stillness and silence. And then God comes to you. I guarantee it. These are the moments that Alois is talking about. And this is where freedom exists. It doesn't exist out there. Laws on a piece of paper can be burned and taken away. It's bullcrap. The only real freedom exists is within you. And within you, only you can go within you. You are truly in charge, in power. And then the first thing you do when you go in there is you hand it all over. You hand it all over to your one true Father, and he will never let you down.
And I'd love to just sort of speak to that and speak to meditation, because my own journey with meditation, I think people will be able to relate to, Charlie, because I started off a few years ago going, I can't meditate. My mind is too busy. I'm a fire energy. I can't sit still, and for a long time, I really had a lot of resistance around meditation. And I'm very blessed to have a very dedicated husband who meditates every single day and has meditated for a long period of time. And for me, it was like, well, if he's doing it, I may as well do it. And I'll be honest, that's kind of what helped me get into a routine with my meditation. And the first, I suppose, 6 months that I was doing it, I still had this restlessness, and I still but I kept on turning up and I kept on showing up. And now it's like you just said, you just give it over. You sit on your cushion and you let go, and you give over everything that you're worried about, everything that you're stressed about. You just let go and you go into silence. And I've got to the point now where I can pose questions and I get the answers. And it's just so wonderful every day to have that practice where I just go into silence and I completely let go. And I can be struggling to maybe do a video or a YouTube video or something I'm teaching, and I go on my pillow and I sit down and I let go. And I can guarantee by the end of my meditation session, I'm clear and I know where to go and what to do next. So I suppose I just wanted to share that with people because, I think a lot of people have that resistance to meditation, but I would just keep saying, keep turning up. Even if it's difficult, just keep showing up and it will click and it will work.
Beautiful, so beautiful, and it is so true. That's what happens. And remember, there are infinite amounts of tricks. I've done 2 shows on meditation. Well, I did. Eventually, when the right platform presents itself, I will promise. I have it all. All of the Freak Sense video, we'll re-upload them, but we're waiting for the right platform. The right platform does not exist right now. So we will see. Patiently, we will see, but it will all come back up again. And I have 2 podcasts on meditation, a longer one, and it's all about virtue. It's all about being virtuous. It's all about becoming righteous. And that's how you meditate. So once again, you get sleeping problems, you need to become righteous, because if you're righteous, you sleep like a baby. And if you can't meditate because you just simply cannot still your mind, become righteous, and you just drop right in absolute seconds. It's so true. This righteousness, this casting the net to the right, cannot be overstated. It's everything, because it creates peace of mind within you. Remember, if you just observe the earth itself, Mother Earth, what everything that goes on with Mother Earth is all attempting to achieve balance, which is homeostasis. Why are there winds? To create balance. Why are there tides? To create balance. Why are there currents? To create balance. Everything that exists that is a force with regard to the creation of the mother is all attempting to seek balance, because all she wants to do is to get back to the father. But you see, she won't go with you. You know that's true, because you know that's the sentiment of the caring and compassionate mother. She's not going to leave you behind. Why do you think the scalar wave is an 8? It rises up and then it comes back, because no man left behind, no woman left behind. No one is going to get left, because where one, we go all. And then you see, Donald Trump is about MAGA, make America great again, magnetism, scalar waves, where we go one, we go all. It all ties into magnetism. I'm not kidding. When you see the technology that's going to come forth, it's going to blow you away. These maglev trains are real. These are trains that are, in essence, in levitation. There's no restriction. You don't have the tire industry to make money and to force you into spending more money that you don't have by creating friction. What is friction? Electricity. What are we? We're electrical beings. What is the left brain? Electrical. It's all to keep you in your left brain. It's all to keep you. And if they just use magnets in vehicles, in both, the front and the back of the car, there would never ever be an accident. Because try to have two cars connect each other with the same the same force of the magnet, centripetal or centrifugal force, at the same, and doesn't matter how fast you're going, doesn't matter how heavy the vehicles are, they will never run into one another, ever. So there you go. The automobile accident industry is a busyness. It's a busyness to make you afraid, to control you, to make you live in fear. And to create the insurance industry. And again, we don't need the insurance industry. We're mankind. If anyone suffers a loss, what do? Stop what we're doing and we help until there's no more loss. We end suffering in the moment. Why? Because we're mankind. We're not man unkind or man uncaring. We're the child of the father and the mother. So that means we're mankind. So insurance industry, what's that all about? No, we just help each other. And that's what it's going to be moving forward. Of course, we just help each other. I'm not going to rest until everybody has a home and has peace of mind, so that they can enter into their own casino, right? Again, these words that have been taken. What if I told you that the etymology of the word casino are these little white homes that were built on the shores of the Mediterranean? Medit is meditation. It's not middle. Medit is meditation. The Mediterranean is the place of meditation. From North Africa or Southern Europe, everybody went to the Mediterranean to enter into meditation. That's why it is blocked at the front by the Eden and Pingala, by the twin pillars, the entrance into the Mediterranean, because it basically creates like a lago, Mar-a-Lago. What is Trump's palatial in Florida, Mar-a-Lago? Because the Atlantic Ocean, which is chaos, is the Mar, which is the uncontrollable sea. And then when you enter between the twin temples, when you enter in between the twin pillars at the entrance to the Mediterranean, ultimately, that's Yakin and Boaz, or Ida in Pingala. When you enter through, what lies behind the twin pillars must be the truth. That's the basis to every Freemason temple. That's why the twin temples of a Freemason temple are front entrance, and what lies behind is the truth. That's why no one is allowed into a Freemason temple unless they're blindfolded, because they don't give away the truth. Yeah, they don't give away the truth for free. So that's why. So the Mediterranean is essentially the Mediterranean is the third ventricle of your brain, and that the entrance to the Mediterranean, that that is the portal that you must pass through to get into the third ventricle. It's brilliant. It's just as above, so below, as within, so without, as with the universe, so with the soul. It has to be out there because it's within you. It has to be within you because it's out there. It's how everything works. So the Mediterranean is this place. And casinos, the origin, I'm absolutely guaranteeing, telling you the truth. The origin of the word casino are the small white houses on the shores of the Mediterranean where people went to worship God. Now, what is a casino today? It's the exact opposite of a small white house on the shores of meditation where you worship God. It is these are dens of sin, and they are godless. And everything they've done is designed to take God away from you. And they've hijacked your language. That's why the book that we're writing, as soon as I have enough time to be able to sit down, I can finish it in 3 weeks. It'll be done. And it is brilliant. It is brilliant. And it's giving you your power back to take control of your reality and to know the truth. You're going to know the truth because you know the truth of these letters and therefore all of your words. They're devils. They're absolute demons, devils. And remember, Cain killed Abel and then ate him. Isn't that what we're living in today, folks? The Canaanites who kill and eat. They're cannibals. Cannibal, Cain ate Abel, Cain, Abel, cannibal. Yep.
Wow. But I have to say, I'd like to go back to where we're going. Because, you know, where do you think we're going to be in about 3 or 4 years' time? Like that's going to be, because if you think how suppressed we've been over thousands of years, and then when we are able to really expand and evolve and having this technology working for us, not against us, you know, humanity is just going to literally, it's just going to be phenomenal. And like being able to live through that, you know, living through a world that is dark, then to a world that is a pure light, and seeing people express their gifts, seeing poverty eradicated, seeing everybody having a home. Like, what a gift we have got to be able to live through this period of time. You know, like our children will be sharing stories of them, and they won't even be able to connect to it or fathom it because it will be so outside of their consciousness. And thank goodness so. You know, so I know that we're in the thick of it, but I really want people to focus on where we are going as a collective, and really try and stay connected to that energy, because we are creating it. You know, the mainstream media and the films and everything has been controlling our reality. Now we get to own our power, take our power back, and create this new 5D Earth energy. So I just love your thoughts, Charlie, on, you know, where you see us in a few years, what the world will look like.
Wow, incredible. And like I said, I've held on to certain things for quite a while, and then I just released them within the last 2 weeks, a whole bunch of things like future proves past. So here's the thing, when all of this comes down and these people are arrested, and then Trump through, because one of the things it's going to happen very soon, be prepared for it. What's going to happen very soon is that the mainstream media will disappear. It's illegal, it's unlawful, it is ungodly, it is the devil, and it's going to disappear quickly. And it won't be any announcement, because they don't deserve any announcement. They'll just go. And when they do, the only connection to information that we'll have for a while will come from the editor-in-chief, and that's going to be the master president of the, and from his cell phone, Donald Trump is going loading all of this truth. And then you see it's now what General Flynn has been saying all along, that that we are the digital warriors, and that, you know, we are the oppressed, and that it's up to us to write this story. It's up to us to tell the truth of what has been going on. Some of us will be able to write it over the last number of days or weeks or months. Some of us will be able to write it over years or decades. Some of us will be able to write it over hundreds and thousands of years. But that's what we must do. We must now become the enlightened ones that write the truth, because history has been a complete lie. So dark to light means this. If Donald Trump, within a 2-week period, by unleashing the protocols in the SAR, which again, just give back a level playing field, just give back what's rightfully yours and take away what is illegal, unlawful, then all of a sudden, within weeks, there is massive abundance for all. Okay, Democrat, Republican, Trump hater, Trump lover, it doesn't matter. There's no better way than to heal everyone and have everyone downloaded with the fact that these people, this all has been a conspiracy, and that these people have been the devils, and that the Democratic Party have been the chosen ones, the Republicans too, but have been the chosen ones to lead this demonic plan for the future. Everyone will see this. Future proves past. If you can have total abundance in 2 weeks, then the first question, even the most nerd Democrat Trump hater will say to themselves is, what the hell have they been doing to us for the last 1,000 years, right? If we can have abundance in 2 weeks.
You think it's going to happen that fast?
It absolutely will, because again, where does the pressure come from? Where does the pressure come from? Pressure comes from you don't have enough money, so therefore you have to go to work. And then there's always a problem because you hate your job or you don't have work. And the COVID, that's the whole point of the COVID, is to keep people away from work, away from money. And then it makes them willingly accept what was coming, this great reset, which was these deals that we saw in depth in Canada, where all of us were going to be forced to sign this agreement where you get a lifetime wage for the government in return for signing away ownership of everything. And then everything would have been transferred to China. Not that China is evil, not at all. The Chinese people are beautiful, and they've been working for us for 4 years in ways that you can't possibly imagine. It's just a movie. It's just a story to play all of this out so that we learn and we see the bigger picture and how this is all interconnected. But so all of this has been going on for a long time, and all of this is designed to take us away from God and in living in fear. Okay, that's what these demons do. And so everything that they've been doing has been designed, again, to make you limited. COVID, no work, no money. You accept this deal with the government, you sign away all rights to ownership, and you truly have become a birthing certificate. You are nothing more than chattel that can be moved here, there, everywhere. And that's why all the FEMA camps were being built everywhere. You'll see this. You'll see everything that was done everywhere, including, good old Canada, everywhere. So the reality is that yes, it will happen so quickly because that's God's creation. All there is abundance. So if you take away the worry of a lack of money, if you take away the worry of having to go back to work, see, no one is going to tell you that you are in any rush to get back to work. The first thing you need to do is heal yourself and your families. You need to take care of yourself and your families first. So you can't have debts against you that, you've got it, but I can't, President Trump, because I've got these, I've got this, I got to pay. What if you don't have to pay for those things? Remember, and then there are people that are so inert in their left brain, they're going, yeah, but that's wrong because these people, they knew what they were doing when they got into all of these tests. No, they didn't. None of us have been in our right mind. Their system is only the left mind. We've never been in our right minds. We've never made any decisions that are legal because we've always been coerced into making every decision that we've ever done. So even if you've signed your name to something like a banking contract, it's illegal because all of it was done with a gun to your head. Absolutely. Everything in society. It's like the education of your children. You send your kids to the state so that they can brainwash them. And that's a gun to your head. No, it isn't, Charlie. You know, yes, it is. Because if you don't, they can take your child. Yeah, but Charlie, you can homeschool your kids. Yeah, but you have to teach the exact same curriculum, and they have to pass the same bullshit tests that are being done in schools. So it doesn't matter whether, it's some teacher out there or you that's doing it. It's the same lies that they're forced to learn. So it's a gun to your head. Everything has been a gun to your head. None of this is done with lawful consent. So none of it's legal. So everything will fall away. So when you take debt away, when you take the necessity to rush back to a job away, and then you're provided part of the money that's rightfully yours. Again, these birthing certificates are yours. You've paid for them with the blood, sweat, and tears of your existence. You have no idea how badly they've made you suffer. You have no idea yet, but you will. And all of that is yours. So there's just no end to all of this. So in very short order, monies are transferred to stabilize the situation. Debt is removed. This process begins. And then there's calm of the mind. You see, and then when there's calm of the mind, it's not difficult to meditate. And then you're more receptive to listening to Alois or to Josh or to myself or to Santos or whomever. And you will begin this process of listening and actually hearing the message with clarity. And that is that you have to go within. You must go within. So future proves past. Within weeks, if Donald Trump can roll out abundance, people, even the most biggest Trump hater is going to go, well, then what have they been doing to us for 1,000 years? That's right. What has been done is all a game. None of it is legal. None of it is lawful. It's all just been a game to control you. And remember, it's never been about them having lots of money. It's always been about you having none. That's what it's about. Because when you have none, when you live in lack, there's no way you're going to even listen or follow what they're doing. All of the legal activities that they're doing, and they do so many.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, you're too distracted just trying to survive and put meals on the table and feed your family, and you don't have time to look above you and see what corruption and all the stuff that's been going on. And you don't have time to do your inner work because you're out every day or all day working. So you don't have that time for yourself, which is, I think, the biggest thing. Like we said, the Great Awakening was the kind of biggest own goal in history, really, wasn't it? Because essentially it gave people time with their families and it gave people time with themselves. And
yes, and most have squandered that, Alois. Like you're exactly right. It has been by the Trump team and the Q team in many, many ways, but most have not seen it as a gift and have not used it as the gift that it is. So one of the things that what we should all consider doing in the coming weeks and months as Nassar is rolled out is this notion that what we need to do is roll up our sleeves, lock elbows with one another, and together, and that's how you get her. The only way to get her, the mother, is to be together.
Yeah.
So together we get her. And then what we do is we just say, we're going to start with our own town. There's nothing wrong with that. That's not selfish at all. A better place than where you've laid your roots, and you just eliminate any suffering. So that's what you do, and you just get to work helping one another, because that's what we are. We're mankind. There's a number of questions that I've seen on the chat board today, and remember, folks, because I've been deplatformed off of all the mainstream media. Colleen and I are not even allowed to make an account on YouTube, let alone, we can't create a channel, but we're not even allowed to make an account to then like something or to share something or to subscribe to someone or to make a comment. We have been squeezed out 100% off of the mainstream media. And so there's a lot of people talking about depression, and what do I do? And then, like Shadow Sight and others, Patricia and just so many other just shining, guiding bright lights are saying the absolute truth. When you're feeling your lowest, be your best. When you're feeling low, be high, high, high. Get high. Casting thy net to the right. And the highest thing that you can do is helping somebody else. So
one of the
cast
things,
thy net to the right and
one of the things we're doing in our Unlock the Abundance challenge, Charlie, we've got a bingo card, and one of the square, or a couple of the squares are doing random acts of kindness, because you're so right. When we support others, even though we feel maybe we aren't abundant, but when we go and support other people, it automatically lifts us and puts us in this higher vibration. And as you said, you know, it's incredible how life works. But I just want to invite our guest into the room, because we have a lady called Jane Bullbeck joining us. She's local to where I live here, and she was really keen to come and ask you some questions, Charlie, for the last half hour of the show. Jane is a dear friend of mine, so I'm really pleased that she could join us this evening. And there she is. Hi, Jane.
Hi there, you okay?
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us.
No problem. Thanks for asking. It's exciting.
Jane, meet Charlie. Charlie, meet Jane.
Hi, Jane.
Charlie. Hi, Charlie. You okay?
Yeah. So
really
happy. So
really
happy to be
interesting
here
show.
with you.
Mm-hmm.
Very.
Oh, it's gone a bit.
Can you hear us, Jane?
I can hear you. Yeah, Charlie was a little bit wobbly there. Just saying.
I'll turn off my video for now.
There we go. There we go. You're saying it's an interesting show.
Oh my God, it's 100 miles an hour, isn't it? As they always are. So interesting. And like when you've asked me to come on and ask a question tonight, you're like, oh my God. And there's so many things to ask, really. But then Charlie, he shares so much information all at once. So it's like, you may already have answered some of the questions that I have got to ask. But yeah, like a really amazing, exciting time. And this week, I'm just like feeling things are just coming at me. I've been asked to go on like 3 different shows to ask questions or whatever. And it's like things are really happening really, really quickly at the moment. And it's like the last few weeks, I've been so sort of tired and feeling a little bit flat. And then this week, I'm just like, whoosh. And here I am now on this show. And it's so exciting. So one of the questions I'd like to ask as regard the future. So we've got, you know, Charlie telling us all these things are going to happen. All these people telling us you are Charlie Ward and all the likes. But, you know, what are the solutions moving forward for this new earth? For people like myself, you know, we're connecting in groups and that sort of thing. But what else can we be doing? And you know, what's it going to look like socially for us? How are we going to move forward in that aspect? Because, you know, we need to connect. So as I said, we're creating our little groups, but what else can we do? And what will it look like in a social aspect?
Yeah. Great question. Absolutely great question. So again, first off, future proofs past. So the biggest way in which we're going to demonstrate to the many, what do we do? What do we do is we bask in abundance. And then what those of us who know this and have been practicing this will be here to teach and to share is that abundance is God. And that's always been there. The earth has never changed. There's a world which they've controlled, but it's an illusion. It's worse than that. It's a delusion. We've been living a deluded existence in their world, which is just a shadowy gray rain curtain over top, and that blocks out the sun, which is the father, and it muddies the mother, which is the earth. So what do we do moving forward? You unleash abundance. It's what Allegories teaches. And this is, remember, you don't have to do much because God's creation is abundance. The mother is sheer abundance. There's an infinite amount of resources to use. We never run out. There's no such thing as dinosaurs. There's no such thing as fossil fuels. It's just a way of hiking the price up of this cheap eternally abundant oil, so that then you're running low and now you're afraid and we have to go to wars. And it's ridiculous. And by the way, it's a terrible way to have energy when you can just pull it freely from the air, and there's no carnal damage and there's no raping of the mother. But by in and of itself, oil is not bad. It may be sticky and greasy for birds, don't use it, but it's made by the mother. Yeah. It's of the mother. And then people make all this great, horrendous stuff about plastic and what it comes from the mother. The heck's wrong with you people? You'll believe anything. So there's infinite options. We never have to worry about anything. And we're going to start to make the right choices because we're going to have the truth gifted to us. Just Tesla's truth alone will just make us go like this. But there have been many others that have been suppressed. And so the first thing we do is we unleash abundance, because abundance takes that nagging stress and strain away from you. And stress is a killer. Stress is what makes your hair go white. It makes your teeth fall out. It makes you look old. Then you see yourself as growing old. And then you just eventually go, I am old and I should probably just die. That's your choice. It's a choice. Everything that they've done is the delusion. They've deluded us with lies. It's horrific. So you give abundance. What will happen when people are no longer stressed? See, where do we belong? We are the children in the right hand of the brain. So where you think we will grab inside, because that's what we are. And what are we? We're man. So to be kind is to be man or woman. So quite naturally, we'll be man and woman. So what is this all going to look like? What is this? And what is social interaction going to be looking like? Brothers and sisters. And if I'm able to be gifted a platform and I'm not blocked like I've been for years, suppressed so widely for so many years. And if this message is free to be able to share, it's going to revolutionize the world. And again, no credit to me, because it's not my truth. It's just God's truth. But there's that great Star Trek episode, one of the greatest ever, part of the original Star Trek series. And it's the end of episode, series 1. And it's where Captain Kirk and Spock have to go back in time because McCoy did something and changed the future. And it's the episode that I think is called The City on the Edge of Forever, and had Joan Collins in there. It's an incredible episode. It's an absolutely incredible episode. And in the episode, she's a woman that just does what's right. She doesn't even really know why per se, but she just knows that she has to do what's right because better days are coming. And then Captain Kirk, he says, but why do you do this? And she, I know. And she says, I just want to help. And then Captain, do you know that those 3 words are what are going to change he said, more so than I love you, I want to help, is what's going to change our reality. That's how we get from the left brain to the right brain. That's how we get from the lower mind in Egypt all the way to heaven upon earth in the higher mind. And it is kindness, and it is ease. They start as random acts of kindness, and then it becomes a way of life. That's who you are. You just are the kind man. You do kind things. So what is social interaction going to look like? Completely different what there was, because there's no such thing as competition, because we're all connected, but we're all different. We're all unique. All you need to do is be the best you. And there's no competition because there's no other you. There's only you, and only you know how to be the best you. So be it. And that's where we're going to get to this future of the system that is called meretricious, built upon merit. So get good at what you do. The whole point to life is to go from being the apprentice to the master. Donald Trump starred, what's the last show that he starred on? became the president of the world. He was on a show called The Apprentice, and now he's the master president of this earth. That's going from the apprentice to the master. There's a message in there.
Yeah, I've never thought of that. Wow.
In there for all of us. So our future is so bright, you're going to have to wear shades. You're just going to have to get used to wearing shades, because we are going to be illuminated beings. And that's the thing. And I'll just leave my little portion with this. It's so catchy. Goodness and kindness is so catchy that once you do this, then the light's going to just be shining within virtually everybody. And then it just spreads like wildfire. It's exponential growth. Because that's creation. Left to ourselves, it's the father and the mother and their love and their abundance. And that's all there is. Love and abundance. There's nothing else. There's never been a problem. There's never, ever been a problem ever, except in the hands of man, in the perception of man, in the left brain of man. There's never, ever been a problem in the right hemisphere of man, ever.
Beautiful.
Should we just be sort of going with the flow with how we are being right now, with our love and our abundance and everything? Or should we be doing extra work? Or should we like sort of reserve our energy when we need to, because it's going to happen, and when it happens it's going to be a big whoosh? It's kind of how I'm thinking it's going to be like, but I don't know if that's right.
You connect with the mother right now. All of this, that's why I did those shows with Allegories and others, to show how it's been the women that have got it all right in the truth community, and the men have just fallen. Even in the last 3 or 4 days, people coming out and just saying the worst things and denying that doom is coming and stuff. Wow, just showing their true colors. But the women haven't. They led and they have lifted up this truth community because they've seen truth. And so moving forward, what do? And how you follow your heart? That's the middle way. That's the 4 of 7. That's the heart chakra. That's green, which is the green middle earth. And that's what you do. So trust the mother, trust the father. Your father is your intuition, and right above intuition is the heart, which is the mother. So they're together, and you do what you need to do. That's what's right. Don't listen to others. Don't follow others. Start trusting in you, because what's in you is the father and the mother. Yeah.
And can I ask one other question? So when the planet, it's splitting 3D to 5D, how does that look?
Just repeat that one more time.
So the planet splitting from 3D into 5D, how does that look for us? How does that look?
It has to happen within you. So this process of 3D to 5D must be within first. And so, by the way, I mean, there's 2 ways of looking at this. There's more of a spiritual way of looking at it, and then there's more of a meat and potato Bible way of looking at this. But it's the same thing. So it's raising the Christed oil within you, the chrism oil within you. And that is Christ consciousness. And that's the number 13. And boy, that's another huge one moving forward, how they've demonized and hid the number 13 from us. Jesus Christ is the number 13. And if you want to be at one with the mother, you must become the Christed one. You must rise that Jesus Christ within you. And that's here, which is the optic thalamus, the 3rd ventricle of the brain. It's meant to be the 13th cranial nerve. What surrounds the optic thalamus? The 12 cranial nerves. Jesus never went anywhere without his 12 amigos, right? So the solar plexus is surrounded by the 12 sympathetic nerve centers. There's 12 constellations in the sky. Everywhere you go, there's 12 following the sun. Solar plexus is the sun. Everywhere you go, there's the 12 following the 1. 12 plus 1 is 13. The 1 is you. And the whole point of this is for you to illuminate within. It's not the out there light. The out there light has a crown because it's to you. You have to become the light of the world. That's what Jesus said throughout the Bible. You will do greater things than I. What do I always say? By following this gnosis, you will do greater things than Colleen and I, because you will take and apply your genius to the genius that we've learned and we've applied ourselves to this one story, this one truth of the Creator. And it just grows exponentially. And again, in kindness. And so it's really, 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 really beautiful. So moving forward, it is this raising of the Christ consciousness. And what is Christ? He's the healer. He's the teacher. What did Jesus say in the Bible? Keep your children close to me. Keep your children close to me. Children is an allegory. It's twofold. Children, obviously, we know what they are, the unprotected younger ones, but they're also your thoughts. That's allegorically in the Bible. This is where a lot of people get into trouble, is about the sacrificing of the firstborn. And there's so many, children that are killed in the Bible. They're not talking about literal children. They're talking about thoughts. The children of the fruit or the byproduct of thought would be the children. And that's, and that's why it's always the firstborn that has to be, because that's that first thought out of our left brain that gets us into trouble. And that's what must be slayed, is that first carnal thought. So take no thought, Jesus says, and it's the most important thing in the entire Bible, Old or New Testament. Take no thought for your life. Take no thought for your life. Take no thought for your life. Let God do the thinking for you. And again, all these songs that I decode, like the band, probably the most iconic song from the 60s is the band's The Weight. Take it off Fanny and put the load right on me. Listen to that song. It is a complete allegory of the travels of Jesus Christ. I came into Nazareth. I was feeling about half past dead. And then up he goes to the crucifixion. Take the load off Fanny, put the load right on God. That's what we're supposed to do. And all of these things will just become glaring over. That's what we're meant to. Everything is geared towards this, because that's what creation is. And remember, what they've been doing takes hard work. They've been at this 24/7, 365. That's why their system never shuts off. It has to stay on, because we just go, I feel so much better. I feel at peace. And then there's a beauty with this peace that I never recognized before. I like this. And then everything changed so quickly. That's why they never turn it off.
Yeah, no, cool. Just one other thing. So with all these platforms like the Facebook and the Instagram and all of that, should we all be completely moving away from those as much as we can? Or are we already protected because of the return to love and the work we're doing on ourselves anyway? So it's okay to sort of stay there and use it for what we need to use it for.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're demonic in nature, and they're all going down, and they're going to go down sooner than later. So it is what it is. You can, yeah, it is. It's absolutely going to happen. It's the same thing. People ask me about Walmart. So with all the truth we've shared to you about what Walmart really is and what Walmart's really been, will Walmart stores stay open? Would you want them to? Like, what are you saying? Would you want them to? Of course not. All of this has to crash and burn. Let the demon, we'll yeah.
Good enough. Works for me. Perfect.
Wonderful. Well done,
Cool.
Jane.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you coming on. And
Thank you. I'll love you and leave you. And fantastic. Thank you so much.
Love you, Jane. Take care.
Take care. Cheers. Bye. Bye.
Fantastic. Wow, so much amazing information and knowledge this evening, Charlie. Thank you so much. Really always a pleasure to have you here. So it's going to be pretty epic the next couple of weeks. So just to recap really what we've talked about for people. So practice observing, not reacting. Remember, we're in this critical stage in humanity's existence. We are ascending. So really just enjoy yourselves, you know, take the time to observe what is happening and not react to it, and really just see it for what it is. It is the greatest show on the history of the earth. And we have the privilege of being here and seeing it. And then we talked about the righteous path this evening. You know, you can practice that daily, day in, day out, you know, always doing the right thing. It's really simple. You know, I always say to myself, you know, what would my higher self do? You know, and that is such a simple way to kind of, you know, in any situation, how would my higher self respond to my child, even though they're really annoying? How would my higher self respond to my husband, even though he's annoying me? You know, it's just really starting to practice this on a daily basis. And then this inner connection, really fostering our intuition and really starting to trust it. You know, those guys in my Dharma Life community, we work on connecting to our higher self. You know, that's one of the practices we do on a kind of weekly, daily basis, is really to work that muscle of integrating your higher self so that becomes your daily experience. And yeah, and just know that there's so much amazing stuff to come. So Charlie, you're obviously doing the rounds at the moment, really, aren't you? You're kind of on other people's platforms, because until you get a permanent home, are you building a permanent home? Like, are you building your own website?
Yeah, we are. It's we just want it right. It's taking some time for sure. It's taken quite a bit of time, but we want it right, done right, and we want to be really independent with it. So right now we have some of our videos, some of the biggest videos, up on Rumble, but Rumble's not a very great platform. It's absolutely not the answer. So we're just waiting for the time to see when the right avenue presents itself. And in the meantime, what we're just doing is serving others, because there's this beautiful community that's sort of grown up around us. And we just wanted to support them. We want their channels to grow, because these are, while their message obviously will vary, you know, directly from ours, it's all based on the same one principle, the same one story, the same one truth. And so these are people that we love dearly. They're part of what we call our Freak Sense family. And you're right, we're just doing the rounds, and you know, and so to that end, we're on basically every second day, doing a show somewhere, just, you know, helping as whatever we can do, just helping. We field a lot of phone calls from people that just feel, you know, a desperate need to connect to us. And so we always want to honor that and make ourselves available for that as well. So it's kept us incredibly busy. But, you know, there was a comment made by Roxanne. Roxanne is one of the regulars here. She's very wise, like everybody in the chat room is. Oh, and Greg's here. I'm going to just share something with you and about Greg in just a sec. But so Roxanne was just saying something earlier, and this is everything moving forward. You've been taught not to trust yourself. And why would you? You're a fluke of evolution. There were dinosaurs before, you know, there will be flying chipmunks with, you know, nuclear powers. We come and we go, we live for about 60 years and then we die. That's it. You only get one chance and stuff. Whoa. I mean, you talk about the opposite of what the truth is. You are everything. You are eternal, and you are absolutely the light of the world. You're meant to be the light of the world. You're everything. So what Roxanne was saying is that you have to start learning to trust yourself. Why? Mm-hmm. Because within you is God. Within you is Mother Mary. Within you is Santa Claus. Everyone and everything in you is Jesus Christ. Everyone that you aspire to be and what you need to be in this reality is within you. Trust yourself. And then here's what Josh and I teach you about your food. Oh my God, did they ever lie to you? You are a pillar of salt. Salt, salvation, Jesus Christ. Jesus is within you. Your entire body is a pillar of salt. Every mineral known to man exists within you. you don't need to be eating any foods to be able to intake minerals. Every single vitamin in the creation of creation is within you, and you produce your own protein. What the hell are you doing killing animals and eating them because you need protein, because you need vitamin B12, and because you need this mineral and that mineral? Bullshit. Animals eat plants. You're killing the middleman. Go direct to source, which is the plant, and everything is within you. So all your body requires is tip-top shape. Tippy-top, tippy-top. President Trump's always saying tippy-top, tippy-top, tip-top, because the tip-top hat is that higher mind, is that illuminated crown above you, is the tippy-top. It is. That's why these elite gentlemen all wore those really top hats. Lincoln wore it when he was inaugurated. John F. Kennedy wore it on his inauguration. Donald Trump has worn it as well. The tippy top hat is a man who is humble, penitent before God, is a man of God. And so we have to become tippy top. And so that's what this process is all about. You trust yourself. You give your body what it needs. And all your body asks for is one thing. It's a simple sugar. That's it. All your body needs. And look how they've demonized and confused you about sugar. And they told you that diabetes is about sugar. Diabetes has nothing to do with sugar at all. Has nothing to do. It's a byproduct, but has nothing to do with the cause of diabetes. You've been lied to massively. It's incredible. All your body requires is a simple sugar. It's called glucose. And if you eat too much of it, guess what? It stores it as what's called glycogen, and it stores it where you need it, in your muscles, so that when you need it, it's an instantaneous transmutation and you have power and energy on the go all the time. That's how you regenerate your cells, by the way, and live forever, is when you make things easy on yourself. And that's all your body needs. Then it makes the protein. It makes vitamin B12. It makes vitamin C. It makes all the minerals you ever need. Your body has everything. God, you are the pinnacle of God's creation. You think you're lacking in anything? The only thing you're lacking in is you. And you've been replaced by your ego, and the ego is the cabal. That's why, they leave us to run around free. They don't put us in prisons because we're already in a prison, the prison of the left brain, the prison of our own ego. And it's the jailer, and we're locked up good and tight with our egos.
Not for much longer.
Not for much longer, because abundance breaks apart the myth. It does. So cast your net to the right, be virtuous, and trust in yourself. And then just really quickly, what I was going to say, I haven't even talked to Greg about this, but Greg is on the chat. So I wanted to share this with everyone. There's a video which was done within the last year of JFK Jr.'s life. And he did it with Jay Leno. And it's about 18 minutes without the commercials. And so I've recorded it, I've got it, and I'm going to send it to Greg, and he can play. So we'll start the show, if Greg wants to do this, on his channel. And what we're going to show you is absolute proof, guaranteed, that he's not dead, and that he played the Clintons, he played the cabal, and that he outfoxed them he basically provoked them into attempting to kill him. And then when they reached out to try and kill him, he let that plane be blown up because he had to go underground, as we talked about at the beginning of the show. And so what I'm going to do on that show, if Greg wants to do it, is we're going to show you in plain sight everything that he was saying, Monica Lewinsky, Pizzagate, and the Clintons, Clinton Foundation, everything. That's on Jay Leno. That's on the Jay Leno comedy show. And it's just going to blow you away. 18 minutes, we're going to watch it, then I'll decode it, and you'll see in plain sight. And what you'll see is a man that's far too intelligent to be taken out by the dummies like the Clintons. He didn't get killed. He set them up, and now he's taken them down.
I have to admit, I can't wait for him to be back. That will make my absolute life. 4 years of him, I could definitely cope with that. That would be amazing. Going around making peace with everybody. Beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful.
And Greg is saying a big fat yes in the comments. And there's lots of people, Charlie, expressing their love for you and gratitude for you. And, you know, I just wanted to really pass that on. And lots of people wanting to make donations. So we will make sure that we have all of Charlie's details in the show notes. When I end this live stream, I will put up Colleen and Charlie's details.
If you can afford it, never ever stress. If you stress to send us a donation, then you don't know us. Because if you stress to send us, any amount of money, then you're doing the opposite of what we've been trying to teach you. It's about peace of mind. We don't want to contribute to your lack of peace of mind. So if you can afford to, great. The animals, it costs a lot, but that's okay. If you can't, you can help us in other ways. Just, don't stress yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Wonderful. And I'd love to invite everybody listening to our Unlock Your Abundance Challenge. We are doing the Welcome Week this week. Come and meet a beautiful community of high vibrational beings. And we are starting the challenge next week. I love to do things and make them fun and make them high vibrational. We're going to be doing abundance bingo, random acts of kindness, lots of aligned action. And we're going to be doing Akashic Records activations. We're going to be clearing out your poverty consciousness blocks. And we're going to be raising your vibration, and we're going to be meditating and visualizing on the new 5D earth and calling in your abundant new 5D vision. So thank you so much for joining us this evening. We love you all. Hang in there. Charlie's getting beaten up by his dogs. We love you all. It's an incredible time to be alive. Really, really try and focus on, where we're going, how this is all going to pan out for the good, and you will get to tell your grandkids that you were here and you lived through this, and this is one of the most incredible periods in humans' history. So we thank you, we love you, and Charlie, the Innerstanding Show, hopefully another 2 weeks we'll be back.
Always, it's such a great show, Aloise, and it's always so great to be with you, always.
Wonderful. And hopefully we'll have the incredible Josh X back as well. So yeah, stay tuned. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Come and join the challenge. We will enter all Charlie's details in the show notes, and we love you all.